With the release of Final Destination Bloodlines, it's time to stop and rank all six Final Destination movies. My name is Max Sinberg. Welcome back to Max Talks Movies. If you're new to the channel, guys, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. I do movie, TV show reviews daily, out-of-theater reactions, box office breakdown shows every week, as well as this type of franchise rankings monthly. So please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Welcome to Max Talks Movies. Please comment down below. What are your thoughts on the Final Destination franchise? What is your ranking? I feel my list will be very polarizing with Final Destination fans. So let me know, what is your ranking? My ranking is not the right ranking. It's just my personal list. I want to see your list. Let's have a fun discussion about it in the comment section down below. And also, please hit that thumbs up button. And without further ado, guys, there are six Final Destination films. Now, before I get into this list, I just want to give a warning to people. This is not a franchise that I grew up on. I don't have nostalgia for Final Destination. Weirdly enough, as such a big horror fan, I don't know how I've missed these movies throughout my entire life. I guess none of my family, watched them or recommended them, or none of my friends told me about Final Destination. But last week, I sat down and this week watched all five films leading into Bloodlines. So these are all my personal list. This is, for me, one of the most consistent horror franchises of all time. The quality for more than half of these films is really strong. So I just want to say that before going in, especially really four movies for me, that my top four movies are very squunched together. So it's very tough to separate them. This was actually one of the harder rankings that I've ever had to put together. But the thing that wasn't hard was starting with my list at number 6, and that is putting the Final Destination at number 6, which is the fourth entry into the franchise. I think everyone agrees this is easily the weakest of the franchise. This movie came out in 2009 and was of the time where a lot of horror films and films in general were doing the 3D element, and very similar to like Saw 7, which was Saw 3D. This movie has all of its elements are in 3D, but the problem is that movie was made, which is, makes me feel old, was made 16 years ago. So a lot of those 3D effects that they were setting up for in 2009 really don't hold up in 2025. And this is easily the worst made Final Destination film. I think it's the worst acted Final Destination film. And this movie tries to do more comedy than actual scares in the kills, and things like a lot of joke kills are thrown involved. And this movie was not for me. There was the NASCAR, not the NASCAR, but the car racing sequence in the beginning was an interesting idea, but it was so cartoonish with the kills. Nothing in this movie was believable. And what makes this franchise really great is when you put these kill scenes in very believable situations. If it's a roller coaster, if it's traffic, if it's on a balcony, if it's on a plane, real situations that you could put yourself in and makes your anxiety go crazy. This movie doesn't really have a lot of that. They have the movie theater and like the garbage truck. I think they went for a lot of over the top kills and actual relatable kills that scare people. So not a well acted movie whatsoever. And the characters I don't care about. This movie is easily the weakest of the franchise. I think the rest of the five films are way above it. Get ready for some hot takes, as the rest of this list is probably going to be hot takes for a lot of you people. Starting at number 5, moving up to number 5, excuse me, is Final Destination 2. Which for a lot of people, again, these sequels have their fans. I have some fun with Final Destination 2. I do think this log scene, it is one of the most iconic scenes in the franchise for a reason. It is a great opening sequence, and it makes you nervous. And I feel like every other movie's had a drive-by log, and like all the movies, it is maybe the most iconic opener to a Final Destination film. It's very iconic. You can feel it today. Bringing back Clear from the first movie was very smart. That she's in this mental institute to try to protect herself from death after the events of the first film. I still don't love the idea that they killed the main character of the first movie off screen. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, why they chose to go in that direction. But it would have made a lot more sense if they had either two of them or none of them, because it made a weird thing that the lead character of the first film is not to be here. There are some elements of this that I enjoy, but overall, the character dynamics, I don't. I don't care about the cop. I don't really care about the people on the group assembled here is what's missing out of the top four movies. I enjoy the top four movies a lot more due to the characters. Here, I just didn't enjoy Kimberly as a lead character. She's just kind of just crying and melting down, and then after being a mess in the opening scene, she's just okay with seeing people die throughout the entire film. I didn't get the romance feel whatsoever between her and Thomas, the cop. And I said the rest of the crew, I just didn't really care about. So this one has some fun kills to them, opening iconic scene, and an interesting idea towards the end of the movie with how they end it. But still, this one totally is not for me. The rest of the films on this list, the top four, I would give a fresh grade on, really a 3.5 or above. This is a really high franchise in my opinion. So at number four for me, again, it could be another hot take, is Final Destination Bloodlines, the newest addition to the franchise, my number three and my number four movies on this list are really tied. One has an amazing first two acts and a disappointing ending, and which is this one. The next one has a disappointing first two acts and a great ending, so I'll get to that in a second. But Final Destination Bloodlines is a great addition to the franchise. The fact that it comes out 13 years or 14 years after the last film, it feels like a franchise that's built for present day because the last two films have tried to use a lot of CGI. This movie does the best job of the franchise, mixing in practical effects and CGI to such a seamless level. There are some, as always, cartoonish kills, but there is some really seamless CGI and practical effects that makes this, for me, the most well-made film of the entire franchise. The twist of it, that this is a generational trauma, how one person's premonition sets up the entire family's legacy 50 years later, is a really good idea and gives the film a much different feel than the previous five entries in the franchise. They could have easily just made another run-of-the-mill Final Destination film where someone gets a premonition, saves their friends, they all die off, game over, we're done. This movie takes a pretty big swing with the plot, and the big swing really pays off. There's a phenomenal opening sequence with the opening premonition, and the twist of not understanding what actually is going on in the movie, adding new rules that make sense and already make sense with the other rules the franchise have set up. These, I think, are the gnarliest kills of the franchise. Well, Her Story for me is a very, I guess no one would talk about, I just didn't love the ending for this movie. I thought the ending was, for how big and bold the first two acts of this movie are, I think it takes such a easy way out of this movie. And from a story perspective, the family dynamics, so many characters are mad at each other and then they are cool with each other 2 seconds later, which I'm not a big fan of, especially this mother character who I like a lot in the movie, but so many people forgive her so quickly in this film that I just didn't really like that. And then also, as I said, the ending just felt very predictable. I kind of knew what they were going to do at the end of the movie. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And I just thought they could have gone for even a huge swing in the finale. But I thought they played it extremely safe. It was very much a stereotypical Final Destination ending. It's not bad. I just thought it was okay. And after the first two acts were great. At number three for me on this list is Final Destination 5, which is a movie that I was not particularly loving in the first two acts of the movie. The only thing I really loved in the first two acts of the movie was the fact that they established this new rule for the franchise, which is a really genius rule, which is that obviously we saw in 2, you can die and be brought back to life. But in this film, they established the fact that if you kill someone, the people who survived the crash, they can kill someone and they live as long as that person was going to live for. And that rule gives the film also a unique element. And again, after such a bad entry into the franchise, they could have made another safe Final Destination film. This for me is the riskiest film of the entire franchise, and I really love that. Some of the kill scenes are fantastic in this movie. The one that always comes to mind for me is the gymnastics scene. It is so gnarly. And they tease you with this nail sitting on the ledge for like 2 or 3 minutes straight. And this movie does one of the best jobs at teasing you that this is how a kill is going to happen. And then does a twist on that. You also have the eye scene where they go to the eye doctor and she gets like her laser through her eyes. A lot of really cool sequences in the movie. I just didn't really love these characters or performances, honestly, whatsoever in the film. I don't really care about Sam and Molly as a couple. Molly has literally no character to her at all, other than just being a supportive person for Sam, which I don't think was great. And Peter was a character I just didn't buy from a performance perspective, continuing to go down the path that he went on. But what to say is this movie for me, I was like, this is an average Final Destination film. What makes this movie a great Final Destination film is the twist ending that this movie is a prequel to the first Final Destination film. And Sam and Molly are going to Paris for his job, and we realize that he is going on Flight 180, the plane where everyone goes off, where we see the opening plane in the first Final Destination film. And that twist, I gotta be honest, had my jaw on the floor. I was wondering the whole movie why no one was bringing up other films, because again, in Final Destination 2, 3, and 4, they do reference basically just Flight 180 in all of those movies. Here, they weren't referencing any of them. I found that to be a little bit odd, but I assume just because of how bad the last one was, they just wanted to make their own film. And then once the twist happens, I was honestly mind blown. I think it's one of the best endings to a horror film of all time, and one of the best twists in a horror film of all time. Elevates this movie so much. So Final Destination 5 comes in at number 3. Coming at number 1 for me, number 2, excuse me, before we get to number 1. At number 2 for me is the first Final Destination movie. This movie is definitely of its time, early 2000s, definitely was made a year before 9/11. But this movie has a genius concept, which, as someone who did not know anything about this franchise going in, I kind of got annoyed in the opening sequence because it's just another Groundhog Day situation. But it's not. The element of death, they were supposed to be on that plane, and death is coming back for them because they were supposed to die on that plane, and they're dying when they survive in the order they were supposed to die on the plane. Really genius idea that honestly carries this entire film. I haven't mentioned yet, I'll mention now. Tony Todd, perfect casting to be basically, as William Bloodworth, being the person who is the advice guy on what to do, because he knows something. We don't know what really until Final Destination Bloodlines, how he's involved. But he's his scene at the morgue was really good. This is the only movie in the franchise, in my opinion, that really captures your unease and something is off from the very opening scene then on, because we wake up with Alex on his bed and already there's wind going. He's acting pretty weird throughout the entire opening, even before he goes on the plane. And as someone, again, who's never seen this franchise before, I didn't know what was happening, why he was so uneasy, what was going on. And it makes you not know what's going to happen next. And that's a really exciting feeling in a horror film, is to feel this kind of uneasiness and unpredictability on what's actually going. Something's going to go wrong. You just don't know what's going to go wrong. And each of these kills are pretty awesome. The bathroom kill scene is great. Really all the kill scenes in this movie. But what also makes this movie great is the fact that obviously Alex looks like an insane person in this movie. And the fact that he saw the premonition and told everyone to get off the plane. He looks like a crazy person, because this is before 9/11, where security was not much of a thing at these airports. And who would have known? Alex could have easily, if you were another person, could have been like, he set off the bomb or something and wanted to get off the plane. He looks crazy, and I like that element to the film. The twist where Terry dies, I did not see that one coming. That for me is one of the biggest jump scare, honestly, for me, of the entire franchise. What holds us back, it is a pretty flawed early 2000s film. A lot of these performances for me are just not particularly strong in the film. And I thought the movie had a very disappointing ending. This is a movie that just had a really hard time figuring out how it wanted to end things. And such a great movie ended on such a mediocre whatever note, because I just don't really care about the Paris scene at all. Just didn't give the movie any element of excitement. So the ending makes us kind of fall off just a bit, but I still really enjoy Final Destination. But coming in number 1 for me, could be a hot take, could be not. Let me know in the comment section. Is Final Destination 3. This to me is the best execution of these things in this franchise. Characters, kills, uneasiness, and twists and turns. I don't think it's the best twist and turn. Obviously, not Final Destination 5 is the best twist and turn. But this film has easily the best ensemble of characters to root for, in my opinion, in the entire franchise. Now, that helps because, again, they hired a lot of young actors for these movies, and a lot of them, sadly, have not gone on to do big things. But the lead of this movie has Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who is great in this movie. She's my favorite final girl of or lead character of all of these movies. You can really tell when you're watching these movies in a row. You kind of could tell she's kind of different from all the other lead actors of this franchise. She's just kind of different, and she's excellent in the film. But really, the Wendy and Kevin relationship was one I was not even thinking about because Kevin really was a douchebag in the opening roller coaster sequence until obviously he beats up the bully trying to bully Wendy. But that comes with a really unique and really cool friendship because they really never hint at the love stuff. And I really like the twist where, Kevin's girlfriend who dies on the roller coaster was like, I'm going to break up with him. And then Kevin says, not knowing this later when he's looking at pictures of her, that he was going to propose to her after the graduation. It adds a lot more levity and heart to this movie. But I absolutely love the roller coaster sequence. As someone who likes going on roller coasters and amusement parks, I've been to a lot of them in my life. This was an absolutely terrifying and really well executed scene. This movie came out in 2006, and James Wong obviously returned to direct after the first film. This is an extremely well-made movie from 2006. This movie holds up really well. The next two films have a lot worse CGI and effects than this film. And I really enjoyed that. The nail gun sequence, the tanning salon sequence, even the firework thing at the very end. And the thing that literally holds this movie back is it introduces, in my opinion, the coolest idea of the movie, which is that Wendy in the opening gets the usual Final Destination premonition. She gets one at the train, in the fourth act of Final Destination 3, but they just kind of die again and the movie ends. They introduce, in my opinion, the coolest idea, which you really get two premonitions in the same movie, and what do you do with that? But it's the ending of the movie, and this one, again, another Final Destination film that just doesn't really know how to end in a satisfactory way. I think it's easily the weakest part of this franchise. But overall, I still really love this entry into the franchise. It's my favorite. It's the one I'm probably going to rewatch the most. So that is my ranking of the Final Destination films. What are yours? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.